I wish I could remember the details on it more, but I know that I found a couple medical things, and I always joke and play it light and say like, well, I know I'm not an imaging machine, so make sure you follow up with your doctor. But I know when things don't feel right in the body. And because of that, I've been able to send people to their doctor, and they've found one cancer and a couple muscle tears.
So how does that happen? Like you got to explain that. So how, like, let's talk about like the cancer one. So like, what were you doing, and what was it like, and what were you feeling? And like, tell me the story of that. Like, how did you think that there was cancer?
Right. So, and that's again one of those things where when it's happening, it's like an average Tuesday, right? So you're not like, ooh, this is going to be one of the most cool things I ever find on a body. And then you're like, okay, this doesn't feel like normal tissue. The tissue around it is not moving like it should. It's restricted in ways that it really shouldn't be. It's not pulling from where it should be. You think about how when they train you to do self-exams for like breast cancer, and you notice, okay, so there's a lump here and it just doesn't feel right.
What part of the body were you working on? Stretching or?
And that's the other thing. I can't even necessarily remember. So I want to say that it was a breast cancer thing.
Okay. So like, so were you working like the shoulder or something?
Yeah, I want to say it was up in the chest and the shoulder.
Okay.
So, and it was so long ago at this point, but like, it was one of the coolest things. And that person came back to me like a couple years later and was like, by the way, I just wanted you to know that you found this thing and it was cancer. I was like, why didn't you tell me when it happened?
So, because you asked them, you're like, you should go get this looked at. Something's off.
Mm-hmm. Something's off. This doesn't feel right. You need to go talk to your doctor because all I can tell you is this is not normal. I know your body, and this isn't normal.
So this was like someone you've been seeing for a while. Mm-hmm. And it just like years?
Not even necessarily years at that point. So it was probably just a matter of weeks. So.
Okay. Interesting. So like it could just happen that fast. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden they lose the range of motion, and now you're like, you've got a problem.
Yeah, I can tell this is not how your body has been feeling. This is a big change from what it was last week. This is not how it should be feeling.
That's good you found it. What was the other one?
So several different muscle tears. So, and that's gone both ways, right? So I've had people come in, they're like, oh, well, this is probably a tear, or I think I've torn this, or I think I've done this or that or this other thing. And because I've worked with that so much, I can tell, okay, well, I'm not an imaging machine, but typically when I see that come in, this is how it moves and this is how it doesn't move. So I think you should probably go see a doctor. This one, I think you're probably good. If it doesn't get better by the weekend, go see the doctor.
And those were tears that they had. Mm-hmm. And were they like athletes? Or are they just normal people?
Most of them have been athletes. So the big ones that I see a lot of tend to be like jiu-jitsu fighters. Mm-hmm. They tend to go pretty hard. I've also had several of those people come in where they think that bodywork can tend to be their first stop, and I've had some of them come in and be like, yeah, no, go to the ER. I'm pretty sure you broke a bone. Go to the ER.
Jeez, and they're still coming to see you.
Oh, yes. I've had people come in where I'm pretty sure that they broke a clavicle or broke a rib, and I'm not touching that.
Do they like feel like you're going to fix it? Or is this just like a standard routine that they're coming in?
I'm not even sure.
So what are you working on? What are you fixing for them outside of like their broken bones and their
Outside
cancer?
of their broken bones, and yeah.
Like, what's your goal? Like, what do you?
Trying to rehab sore muscles and stuff, trying to improve their range of motion, trying to get them ready for their next fight. A lot of times, they've got pulled muscles. A lot of times, they've got things in their shoulders and their legs, things from being slammed around. With them, it can be all kinds of different things from the grappling.
Okay, the jiu-jitsu guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the ladies.
And don't forget about them too. Yeah, I've seen them out there. So you're working. Are these like that your biggest like client type people, the jiu-jitsu people, or?
Not necessarily my biggest ones. It just kind of depends. It ebbs and flows. You'll see like a whole bunch of this group and then a whole bunch of this group.
Like seasonal, depending on what sports and.
Yeah, I'll end up
season.
seeing a lot of pickleball players sometimes, and then
You need to go put up some flyers at like
Right.
Sun City or something. Huh?
right, I'll get waves of golfers. They're really big on rotation patterns and working on their swing.
Have you ever gotten a call to advertise in the golf book at the golf courses?
Ooh.
That might be a good thing for you. Yeah.
I have had people, like you talk about like the Sun City and stuff like that. Have had people say, I should put up a flyer for you down by like where we have for our park models with the retirees and stuff like that.
You should, yeah. Get out there and do all that. How's BNI working for you in that sense?
Again, it also kind of like ebbs and flows.
Yeah. How about with Corey? Do you guys work together a bit? Help each
Not
other?
as much
talk
as you'd
much?
think. I wish we could more. It
Why,
would be,
why do you think you did not doing more?
I don't know.
Do you talk to him?
I probably should more.
Yeah. Does he talk to you? Maybe you guys should talk to each other.
Right.
Wednesday, you can go talk to him and be like, hey, I think we can help each other. It almost seems like you guys could, like, come to, I don't know, share a space or something. Huh? I don't know. How long have you been at the space you're at? And where is it?
Since we opened.
Okay.
So we're on Dobson and Baseline.
Oh, you guys are
And
like neighbors.
I know we are pretty close. So I've been at that spot since we opened. So it was originally, it's Health and Healing Studios because we opened right after COVID shut down. And originally it was several separate businesses. And we were all renting space out together, trying to kind of hold on. And then over time, we kind of just became one solid business.
Okay. That's almost what Corey did, but by himself. He reinvented himself.
A lot of us kind of did that post-COVID. A lot of the wellness people did. It was an interesting experience.
Yeah.
You had to do a lot of adaptation.
Yeah, I just went to Flagstaff and hustled it up there and did some side work, video stuff for people. Helped a campaign, an election campaign at the time. So, like, tell me, like, the process when someone calls and comes in and, like, how you evaluate somebody. And
When they come in?
yeah.
So when you come in, I like to start out, first appointment is really kind of assessment based. You come in, I always try to hit all 4 quadrants in the first session.
What does that mean, the quadrants?
So right leg, right arm, left arm.
Makes sense. Okay. Just wanted to, that's what I thought.
So regardless of what spot you think you've got an issue with, I try to hit kind of all the different spots, right? Because even if you think that, your problem is with your left hip, right? I always like to say that problems like to hide in the spots that you're not addressing. And sometimes you've got compensation patterns that are hiding out in those spots. So I like to make sure that we hit all of those different spots, and then we kind of try to focus on the spot that you've got the issue with. So then once we've hit all those different spots towards the end, we can kind of say, okay, well, this is what we've found. And based on that, kind of come up with a plan of attack. So some people, and that's typically going to be about an hour-long appointment. Some people coming out of that, I'm going to say, okay, so you're actually pretty flexible. I think you can get away with 30-minute appointments. Or other people, they're going to be like super duper tight. Okay, maybe you should do 30-minute appointments and we should do them more frequently. Because we need to baby step it.
Do you do hour-long appointments?
Most people are going to be in the hour-long appointments.
Okay.
Almost everybody.
So either you're very flexible and you only need 30 minutes, or you were so not flexible, if you overdid it with them, then it'd be a problem, so they need to stay. Okay.
But almost everybody is going to be in that hour range. And then every once in a while, you have the random person who wants to treat themselves or that you're just never done with, and they can do like the 90 minutes. But almost everybody ends up doing just the 60 minutes. And then, again, with that frequency, depending on what they're working on, how fast they want to get through it, how their body holds a stretch, that could be the difference between whether or not we're seeing you every other week, once a month, once a week. It just kind of depends. And then after that first month, we want to kind of reevaluate, because ideally we're seeing some progress, right? I don't want to be seeing you every single week and have you not getting any better. I want to be cutting back on that and getting you to the point where you've got some progress. I mean, unless you just want to treat yourself, and I definitely want to see your smiling face every single week if that's what you want.
But typically they're going to do like a 4-week program or something?
Yeah, typically at the end of a month we want to see some progress and we want to reevaluate from there.
Okay. But they can go on forever if they wanted to.
Right. I do have, we have somebody at my office who he sees every person at my office at least once a week. And he's been doing that since we opened.
Wow.
So, right? He just takes really good care of himself.
Pretty flexible.
You'd be surprised. But he's also a bit of a stress case.
Oh, he's like so stressed he's not flexible, and man, I feel bad. What's he do for a living?
Business owner.
A business owner. Is he in B&I?
But I like to say, buddy, you don't get stressed, you just get knots.
How old is he?
Not that old.
30s, 40s, 60s, 20s? He's in his 20s?
He's not in his 20s, no.
30s?
I'm not talking about people's ages.
Oh. I didn't know we couldn't talk about that. Just ballpark. He's not that old.
He's not that old.
Okay. I just don't know what not that old is different for other people.
Right? Exactly.
So, okay. He's under 40?
I want to say 50s?
Okay.
40s? 50s? I don't know. I'm terrible at guessing ages. I'm ridiculously terrible at guessing ages.
He's like over the hill, though.
I'm really bad at guessing ages.
He won't see this, so it'll be okay. I'm pretty positive. And he didn't say his name. We don't know who you're talking about, so it's okay. What kind of do you do any marketing?
Well, not a whole heck of a lot. Not a whole heck of a lot. Most of us, we've all done, at my office, we've all done a stint in B&I.
It's your turn now, is that what's happening?
Yes. My boss is really good at it. And then me and me and my other therapist over at the office, we both get a little bit anxious in social situations. But
Yeah.
I feel like I'm doing good this time around.
Yeah,
I feel like I'm doing better.
I think everyone's doing fine except for me and Gary. I'm gonna have to talk with Gary. We'll get together and help each other out. So, so it's your turn in BNI. You're working on that. So that's like pretty much all you guys have done, and like word of mouth.
We've tried to do some of our own little social media videos. So we do have like TikTok videos and Instagram videos and stuff like that.
What kind of
And
videos do you create?
most of them right now are more educational ones.
Okay.
Most of them have our business owner in them. Again, she's the much more video friendly, social gregarious presence.
Are you the one filming?
Sometimes.
Okay. So you film her on camera. She does it herself.
Sometimes. It varies.
Depends on the content.
Depends on the content. We do have somebody that helps us out with marketing in the office sometimes. We do a lot of trade stuff with different people that we know.
Okay. So you just do TikTok? Do you do like Facebook?
Yeah, a lot of it's cross-posted.
Okay. Just do you post every day? You guys don't post. You gotta get on that.
I do.
Someone's got to do something.
Right.
That might be more valuable than BNI almost. You know, if you spend an hour, actually, like what going to BNI takes up like 2.5 hours a day.
Telling that to the guy who does the videos.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's like some, like it's good that you do like educational stuff. Because it like builds the trust and it makes you guys the authority on what you do. And it's like shareable. If someone finds something valuable in it, then they'll share it with their friends, and then it spreads. People like that more.
You should have seen the one time that we tried to film a video when she was on vacation. Oh my goodness! Do you remember back on Friends where Joey was trying to do the commercial with the soup, and it was the bit with him in noodle soup?
No.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
I've watched Friends. I don't. Yeah. Not as much as Seinfeld. So I can recall those more. What is like what's like a strange stretch that you would do that people that like you normally wouldn't think of? Like I would like, you know, stretch your arms. Like how are you doing it that people like what
Okay.
could people not do?
Okay, so there's one towards the end where I have you lift up your feet, and you lift up your feet and bend your knees, and then I go underneath your legs and lift you up, so I kind of fold you in half. And most people are always kind of surprised by that one. And, you know, my little one-liner is there, oh, bet you didn't know you could fold in half. But it's a really good one to get the low back. And I guess that's kind of a good tie-in to, like, misconceptions that people have, because I'll have a lot of people think, oh, well, I couldn't get on your table. I'm not very flexible, or I couldn't do those stretches. And assisted stretching is really good for people who don't think that they're very flexible, because when you get on a table, It allows the body to feel safe. And a lot of flexibility is all in the mind. It's about whether your body feels safe enough to give you access to the flexibility that you have. So when you're laying down on that table, you're able to fully relax and you don't have to stabilize. So the person that's helping you stretch, they're able to stabilize for you, and they can traction your body and give you that guidance and that stability, so you can get into all of these deep stretches that you wouldn't be able to get into on your own. Because you're up in the air, you can dip down like you wouldn't be able to if you were on the ground. So somebody who isn't particularly flexible on their own or can't get very far, I can pretty much get them into a pretzel.
Because no matter what, like if you're doing it yourself, you are stabilizing yourself and you're working and tensing up yourself. So you can never do it to the extent that you do it.
Exactly.
Got it.
No matter what, when you're stretching your own body, you have to be tightening up something else in order to get your body to where you want to be. If somebody else is helping you, you don't have to worry about that. You can just kind of be a noodle.
Right, and get like the full stretch, the full range of motion. Take it.
And that's not even taking into consideration like adding in other tools and things that we can use too.
Go into that. There's tools.
There's tools. So like I can do things like adding in cupping or tuning forks, percussion guns.
All right, let's break those down. Cupping. What is cupping?
So you see cupping a lot with in sports, right? So like people always make references to like Michael Phelps from back in the day, right? Where you would see those circular marks. They're little plastic or silicone cups that you can apply in a couple different ways depending on which kinds you have. And depending on how you're using them, they can be doing a few different things. Doing stretch, I typically use them like an extra set of hands, right? So I apply the cups and they add a certain level of suction and stability. So they can stabilize the tissue while I can then stretch around it. So it gives a little extra pressure.
So are you leaving the red marks when you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, it depends, right? Because the red marks will show up if the tissue is very restricted. If it's less restricted, then if you take that cup off, the red marks will fade away pretty quickly.
Because like you're trying to get blood flow, right? That's my understanding what they're
Exactly. So if the area has been very restricted, then the red marks can stay there for quite an amount of time. Sometimes they can even get darker. But if it wasn't very restricted, that blood flow will come and go, and you won't have too much of a problem because the blood flow wasn't very restricted.
Is this a pre-stretch or a post-stretch thing, or depends?
During. Well, it depends on what I'm stretching, but for the most part, during.
Got it.
And then like tuning forks is kind of the same thing, right? So you can think about that, like if tuning forks are vibrating things, they're vibrating things at a very small level, right?
What frequency are you using?
I have several different ones. I have a whole rack. And depending on how woo-woo you want to get, those different frequencies actually correlate with different chakras too.
Okay.
So we can get really into that, but different frequencies are going to work out better for different knots and different people, and You kind of find out what works best for what person and what not. But at the end of the day, that frequency is working on moving the tissue at a very tiny level. That is the tiniest way that I can affect the fibers in the body. So if I have a very, very persistent knot, you can effectively think about it like if you have fibers in the body, like the knots in a chain, you need to wiggle that chain to get it to unknot. Then that tuning fork is one way that I can wiggle that tiniest little portion of chain. So for the most persistent knot, that's one way I can get in there. And then I've also got things like gua sha stones to also help break up tissue. And
how's that work?
So gua sha stones, you see them.
Can you spell that?
That's a GUASHA.
Okay, I got it.
So I think the way that most people are going to be familiar with them out in the wide world is you'll see them in like facial kits for ladies, and they're like yay big and little stones. But then you'll also see them in like PT kits or bodyworker kits or.
Do you heat them up? Or
not necessarily.
No,
you can.
Not the same thing.
And you can have them made out of all kinds of different materials, right? So like if you're seeing them in the facial kits, they're going to be like jade, right? But then you can also get them, if you're in the sports world, made out of metal or epoxy or all kinds of different stuff, right? And all kinds of different shapes. But you can use them to scrape the tissue, typically going in the direction of the muscle to help with blood flow and breaking up fascial adhesions. So that can also help when you have stuck tissue.
Can you describe what a fascial adhesion is?
So fascial adhesions, fascia is the stuff that gives our muscle structure. And that's the stuff that I'm stretching when I'm moving your body around. So if when we're moving your body and it's getting stuck and you've got these gnarly little knots that don't want to move, we can use the scraping with the gua sha stones to help break stuff up that's very stubborn. So all kinds of fun tools that we can use too.
So where did you learn like how to use the tools?
Just different continuing ed classes over the years.
So did you go to like a school prior, like years ago, or
so
how'd you get into doing this?
So doing all of this was the most roundabout, weird, your career finds you thing. Yeah. So I was originally going to school for nutrition, and I have my degree in holistic nutrition and hypnotherapy. Now, when I was getting that degree, I ended up going into the gym after having my middle child. And that first visit back into the gym was a stretch therapy appointment. That stretch therapy appointment was so cool. I decided this is awesome. I need to learn how to do this. And it also ended up being a job interview. So I wasn't intending on going back to work that quickly, but the person I was having my session with goes, well, you know, we have daycare. And I go, okay, I will be there Monday. Over time, I did my first level 1 stretch. I did my level 2 stretch. I did my neurokinetic therapy, level 1, level 2, level 3. I did primal movements. I did cranial sacral. I did all of these other different little modalities. And when you get into alternative healing practices like that, when you get into the wellness sphere and the fitness sphere, all of these different continuing ed classes just kind of build and build and build until it starts to sound like alphabet soup, because they all have little 3-letter codes.
Like that's a Thomas thing, and Thomas has 3-letter codes for everything.
Yeah. And it's just been like several every couple years for the past 13 years.
What is Primal movements?
So Primal Movements is one of the continuing eds that I did as part of my personal trainer background. And when I do personal trainer stuff, I am not the personal trainer you see to go get big and strong. I am the personal trainer you come see when you're broken.
Rehab more so.
Exactly. Primal Movements is all about taking movement down to the fundamentals, right? So primal. It's about the ABCs of movement and how we learn to develop our movements right from being a baby, right? So how babies learn to lift up their heads, and then how we learn to roll over and how to crawl, and all of these different building blocks from the ground up. And if we have an injury, if we take a person back down to the ground and we practice those patterns on the ground, we can retrain the body down there in a safer environment. So when they get back up, they move smoother.
Interesting.
And you would be really surprised at how many adults have forgotten how to crawl and how to roll and how they trip all over it when they go down to the ground.
Interesting, yeah. I was gonna say, like, I gotta go down and start, like, just lifting my head up.
And it makes for really interesting homework that I can give people with their flexibility.
Yeah, I should try crawling. Well, I could crawl a little, I got the little ones. So
Right? You have wonderful homework right there. You can just watch the littles, how they move.
Yeah, my first one, he started out with just, like, army crawling.
Mm-hmm.
He did that for a long time before he actually, like, started crawling on his knees.
And all of that is super important, right? Human beings actually have a particular order that they tend to learn things in. And, like, remember how I told you about all the different 3-letter codes for how we learn different techniques? There's another one of those techniques that's all about the different reflexes that we have too. I haven't done that one, but I used to know a chiropractor that had that one. And I've always been interested in learning that one, but I haven't had an opportunity yet.
Have you talked to Dr. Kevin about that? Or?
I don't know, but I wouldn't be surprised if he learned that one too. But
You gotta talk to more people.
I know. And I had a one-to-one with him just the other week, but I hadn't thought about that reflex one in years since like just now. But that reflex one is so cool because human beings, we have all of these different reflexes that we're born with, and they peel away at certain times. And if they don't peel away, it creates problems for us later on. So you can actually test them and see, hey, does this person still have this reflex? And if they do, it can be causing problems in their development.
And you can do that like any age, like test it. And what time, like when would it go away?
It depends on which reflex it is.
Okay. All right, we'll get Dr. Kevin in here.
Right? Yeah.
Is there more of a normal, usual issue that you find in people?
Okay. Like another scar tissue.
Okay.
Everybody's got scars. Well, almost everybody's got scars. And scars are weird. Scars do lots of weird things, right? So when you have scar tissue in the body, you can have all sorts of weird muscle compensation patterns. You can also have all sorts of weird energetic, emotional things that happen because typically when scars happen in the body, they can be very emotional things, right? They can be things that like car accidents, they can be things like very emotional surgeries, they can be all kinds of very big emotional bad things, or in the case of tattoos, very positive emotional things, but still.
So it's like an emotional thing that's tied to like actual like a physical
Yes, they can be
damage
physical. Yes, they can be
or
physical
trauma.
manifestations of trauma, right? So when you get into those, when you stretch those, when you manipulate those, you can even have limbic responses. So where all of a sudden you have a person who's crying and they have no idea why and they can't necessarily stop. So it's very important over at our studio that everybody has some sort of training to deal with that. So, for example, like I've done training for PTSD to be able to handle and navigate that. Also, I've got Reiki training to be able to help with that.
Do you
to
just
be
like
able-
give them a box of tissues or like
Sometimes that can be part of it. Reiki can be an energetic therapy that helps people. We also have the sound bowls that we can use to do sound healing. We have different plant medicines that we can use, whether that's CBD, whether that's using something like sage or hape or sananga or any of the other different things that we have in-house. All kinds of different things that we can do for someone who's having an emotional response.
so like you're in the middle of a stretch and they just start crying, breaking down.
Depending on the individual and the situation, it can be as simple as just holding space for them. Or that could mean moving on to a different type of therapy, such as like switching gears and going into a Reiki session or an energy work session. Or it could mean bringing in somebody else into sorry, edit moment.
Yeah. So bringing them into like a Reiki session is like, what do
Yeah.
you do there?
So if it means going into a Reiki session, that could mean, say we're jamming out to Led Zeppelin, because I let people pick out their own music because different people find different things relaxation. Maybe we've got that music switching over to sound bowls or rainforest sounds, something more neutral, right? Without words in it. And then we're doing energy work, right? So instead of the big movements that we've got, we're just going down and we're using energy down at the feet, up at the top of the head. We could be using essential oils placed in different spots. Different essential oils help do different things for the body. We could be using those different essential oils at the scar tissue. For example, like frankincense helps break down scar tissue and is considered to be king of the oils. It's supposed to be both emotionally healing as well as healing for the actual skin itself.
Interesting. And then, so then they're like, they get all better before you send them out.
Before we send them out. And we've actually done we've been trying to get a couple videos that are like before and after, where people are either, they come into us where they're all like that, where they're in a state like that, and then they leave where they're all relaxed and blissed out.
That would be nice. But it's probably hard to coordinate that.
It is.
Yeah.
And the amount of people who we have that come in that we know are okay to do those videos is very small. They have to be like the real regulars where we're like, yeah, we know that person's okay for that.
Right. Yeah, I'm just trying to think how you do that.
It's the process.
Yeah, it's very interesting though. It's like you just stretching their shoulders and then they just,
Right?
it just triggers an emotional memory.
The ones that you get a lot for that are jaw. We tend to hold a lot of emotion in our jaw. Yeah.
And would that be like
That's one of the
parental
biggest
trauma
culture.
in that too, or?
That tends to be a big one.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it wasn't physical, it's like completely
Right.
mental,
Mm-hmm.
gets stored into parts of
Yeah.
your body. Do they realize like later, like maybe why they were triggered? I guess.
Sometimes even as we're working through it, right? Because like as we're working through it, depending on how with it they are, we can be talking through it and processing why and what they're feeling and what they're going through. And especially like if it's a known issue that they're going through, and like depending on the spot too, right? Like if it's say it's scar tissue from breast cancer, right? We know why you've got trauma there.
Mm-hmm. But it wouldn't link to something else, and like.
Right. I think one of the craziest ones that I've ever seen is actually from a coworker, and it was a scar on her lip from a car accident that was messing with stuff in other places in her body.
Crazy.
Right.
Yeah. So do you like?
But it kind of makes sense though when you think about the dynamics of what happened in the car accident, because if you think, okay, well, when that impact happened, that was the point of impact, and you have this brace and this fear response, right? So, you're bracing for impact, and it's the body remembers that, right? It
Wow.
doesn't matter what part of you got hurt, the body remembers what it did.
So you do like a lip stretch?
Right? No, that actually has to do with breath work and diaphragm work. But you figured out, the problem was up here.
Interesting. How'd you find out that it was there?
Trial and
Sure.
error, and
Okay.
like figuring out that like, oh, well, the thing that she's that was the trauma and the scars up there. Okay. All right. Well, this is the SCAR protocol. Use the SCAR protocol on this scar.
And what was the SCAR protocol?
So for the SCAR protocol that we use for homework, you typically want to find the scar, and any direction that it doesn't want to go in, you kind of want to work that scar in that direction a little bit at a time and loosen it up. You'll notice there's usually an area that it doesn't want to go in, that it's kind of restricted in. And just work on getting it to loosen up. And
So you had to have like a very sensitive, like, touch, I guess, I suppose, to like notice like the minute difference in like a direction a scar would want to go.
oh yeah, anybody that does this you need to see with your hands. I always kind of compare it to I think about it like fishing, and then for you, this is gonna make a lot of sense. I think about when you're hooking up cables and you're moving around cables and you have to jiggle the cable to feel where it is.
Mm-hmm. Pulling it out from like
Right.
the desks or something. Yeah.
So anytime like I'm stretching a body or I'm feeling around with the scar and I'm like, okay, where is it pulling from? Where does it not want to go?
Got it. Like my chiropractor, like I go in, I didn't tell him I had like a shoulder problem. He just comes in, he's like, "Oh, something up with your shoulder, huh?"
Right.
Yeah. I was like, "Okay, I believe you know what you're doing."